happening. Awesome. So it looks like we are now streaming. Very cool. Now I can move this over here. I'm going to make my TikTok live a little smaller so I can see both of these things. And then we're going to get this a moving. So I've got the YouTube chat here in screen, which is very nice, makes my life easy. Got the TikTok chat in screen. Gonna move this down here, see if I can put this over or under the scene transitions. Very cool. Nice. Got this all set up the way I like it. Looks good. And now we can get started on this marketing power hour. Before I continue with this marketing power hour, though, we're going to do this quick little promo for the actual thing. And how about I show you guys how this all... Oh, never mind. Okay. Whoops. My bad, guys. I thought I could show you a screen share of my phone, but guess that's not the case. Anyway, we're going to set up this nice little promo. I'm going to edit some quick actions. It's going to take a couple seconds here. And then that's up. And then move this over here. Cool. How's it going to be? Terrible voice. My bad. Gonna make this here. Seems a little long in my opinion, but whatever. Cool. All right. Now we've got this cool little promo. Should be a couple seconds. The other thing I'm going to do before we get started on this marketing power hour is going to be double checking where the link is at. So we're going to go to YouTube first to make sure that this live is up, that it's running, and that we are using the right link here to promote it. So right now he's got cool. Oh, that's an old one. My bad. Okay, so there we go. Huh. So there's a little lag, which is interesting. But it's cool. We've got it copied. Now we're going to go to Instagram. We are going to go to my marketing Instagram. And then we're going to put up this video. Going to add a link. Live on YouTube. I'm going to turn off my music for a split second so I can actually make this look cool. And then I'm going to show you guys how this actually looks because I want you to see that. I am going to, by the way, those sounds are my washing machine because that's what happens. We're going to do James Brown. Yep. Nice. Like that. All right. Cool. You guys can see this now. Check this out real quick. Got the link, got a quick little montage on there, and now I'm going to post that to my story, get people going on the YouTube live. Whoop, whoop. I'm going to text this to my friend, and I'm going to say, whoop, live on YouTube, whoop, boom, boom, and And here we are. Cool. So we can keep on playing music. This is Pokey Lafarge's Going to the Country. And that's going to be our soundtrack right now as we work on this marketing plan for 2026. So just a couple of things here. We're going to set up this marketing plan based off of these different web strategy plans that I already make. The big issue here is that a lot of these marketing strategies are built around a website design, because that's what I've done mostly over this initial phase of my business. To give you guys some context, this business started when I was in July, and I had left my last job. And after leaving that job, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I did not want to be in a situation where I was working for somebody else. I've been working for small businesses for a long time, just making sure that I'm signed into the chat here under the right username. Just give me a second here and make sure that these emails are correct. Yep, that's right. Rad. Cool. So now I can close YouTube and I'm back on. I can't see, actually, interestingly enough, if there are any people who are actually watching this. So we'll find out. I've got top chat. I'm in live chat. There we go. All messages are visible. Would like to see participants as well. Cool. So I'm in here. Y'all can chat with me if you jump on, when you jump on, etc. But we're going to do that. And now we're going to get moving. So as we set up this 2026 marketing plan, keep in mind, this is a small business. We don't have a massive amount of funds. We don't have a massive amount of data. And we don't really have a lot to work off of here. So it's important to keep that in mind, because this is for a first year small business. That's really kind of going to be the challenge here. But the first thing that we're going to do is we want to make sure that we keep it super simple, right? You want to set goals and you want to set them the right way. So one of the things that I'm going to do here, this is a image. So now I'm going to need a shape from Canva. We're going to make that a transparent inside, and we are going to make that a box. I want this to be a nice looking box so I can highlight the various key areas about making a plan. You want to keep it super simple, because your goal is going to be your main thing that you focus on. Your goal is to get more customers by focusing on, and this is where you're going to put your effort, right? Because in some cases, you don't want more customers. When you're a big customer, when you're a big company, you may want to dominate your marketplace more. You may want to focus on other key performance indicators or other metrics that are feeding your business a little bit better. I'm going to spread this line spacing just a little bit more, so that way I can give myself some space to make this a template in the future. It's good to think about how you can double count your work. If I can make this a template in the future and I can give that template out for free, I can use it as part of a lead magnet campaign, which is essentially just, hey, you guys get this free cool resource. I get your email so I can check if you need my services. And we'll talk about that once we got that all set up. But for now, I'm just making sure that I'm breaking down what I've already done for this marketing plan, right? So we want to keep it super simple. We want to look at, what are your goals? Where are your efforts, goals, and then instead of efforts, I'm going to put focus, right? So I'm going to say this is going to go there. This is going to be goals right there. This is a great song. If you've never heard it before, I highly recommend it. This is Havana Affair by Onda Vega. It's a jam. I hope you guys can hear me through this. I'm going to jump on TikTok real fast. Watch myself. Great. I get to skip an ad as I log in. Cool. Cool. You can actually hear the music, which is nice. I'm going to lower the volume on the music just so that way it's not super, super loud. All right, cool. I think we're good. Sweet. I mean, I might need to adjust the levels. That might be it in the audio speaker, you know. Do I have I don't know. I'm going to leave that at 97 just to save myself the trouble. Anyway, cool. Here we are. We're talking goals. I'm going to make this a different color just to save me the trouble. Let's do blue. Blue is going to be separate. Goals. Then we're going to call this, what are we going to call this? Focus. Actually, I think efforts. I'm going to put organic. Efforts. And then this is going to be this is also a jam. Paid efforts. Cool. Let me increase the spacing just a little bit more. Let's go all the way up to 2.2. I don't know why. I like round numbers when I'm doing work. Just makes my life a little easier. Or at least I think it does. It just feels better that way. Round numbers always feel better. That's just me. Although, if it's not for data, and data points sometimes I prefer the decimals, you know? So now that we've got our organic efforts, our paid efforts, and our goal, we know how to structure this plan essentially, right? Keeping it super simple. The goal is to get more customers. The question is, how many customers did you get before? Where did you get those customers? And do you have any data to support, one, what your baseline is for your organic efforts, and then two, what your baseline is for your paid efforts. So you want to do better than your baseline or better than your average if you have a lot of long-term data, which we don't have. So we're going to break down some of this data and then see where it goes from there. So now that we've got that, keep it super simple. And now set your, I don't want to say set your metrics, right? Because that might be too much jargon. Set your mark your target. Mark your target is good. So now that we have that, we're going to want to mark our target. I'm going to remove that big yellow square. And I'm going to reduce this. How are we going to mark our target? How do we teach people, and how do I make this simple for myself to mark a target and to be able to beat that target, to be able to reach the goals that I want to reach, right? Like, how am I supposed to get myself set up in such a way that my targets can be met? So let's talk about this. First, what's our target, right? So let's set a section for goal. Let's keep that at, well, we don't want that at just regular bold. So I have 3 different types of fonts. We can get into that later as far as my brand books. But I've got extra bold as like my heading style, like a regular bold, just an inter bold. That's just kind of like when you have regular text. Anyway, goal is to get more customers. Data. Let's talk about data. So cool. When I'm looking at data for get more customers, right? As a marketer, the question is, okay, well, how many more customers do you want? And you might say, well, Jose, I want all the customers. I want every single customer that I can get. That's not helpful because marketing is a discipline. It's not something that you can actively understand. I mean, you can, if you want to segment the market, understand the total number of buyers within that market, and then look at your current size of market share. You can look at the customers you need to steal, the customers that you could possibly acquire, and you can extrapolate an idea from there. But for our purposes, as setting practical goals, being a practical marketer and a digital marketer, you absolutely don't want to be like, I just want all the customers. That's like going to some kind of fitness coach and telling them, I want to be faster. How fast do you want to be? How fast are you currently? I don't know. I want to be the fastest. Okay, well, you're never going to hit that goal. It's unattainable. It's not possible. Set realistic goals. Plan your work your plan, hit those realistic goals, right? So when we're talking about, let's go customer data is what we're going to call this chart. We'll work on the design aspect of it later. But right now, what we want to do is we want to get a plan put together. That's really the key here. We're putting together a plan. We're focusing in on that. So number of years I've been in business, not even a full year so far. Let's talk 2025. I've got this thing that I'm setting up. It's called the Data Hub. And I'm going to zoom in on this for you guys because I've actually got my whole window on 75%. I don't know why I do that. Sometimes I like getting a bird's eye perspective, but I've got this thing, I'm calling it the Data Hub. I'm going to increase the size of this font for you guys. And right now, as it stands for data, I'm going for client sheet, and then I'm going to make this charts / summary. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump that microphone there. And now that we have charts and summary, we can kind of see what's going on here, right? Like total clients, referrals. Somebody is calling me. It's potential spam. I'm not going to answer that. Sorry. I don't answer spam calls. So, go to voicemail. Thank you. Don't want you guys hearing that in the background. Anyway. So totals, all sources. Let's go all sources, then totals, then closed won, closed lost, and then what we want to do is conversion rate. Cool. So let's take a look at that now. And now we can break down some math, right? Because what we have here is we have the list of clients that I've worked with in the past. Then we want stage. Let me do closed one lost. That makes more sense. So we'll go with lost. We'll call this DNC for do not contact. Save me the trouble. I'm going to put no response, actually. No response is going to make the most sense for my purposes. Because sometimes you're going to cold call people, or they're going to, in this case, these 4 different leads are coming from a campaign that I ran last year. We'll look at my Google Ads data in a second, but I ran a campaign that essentially went to this to this promo that I was running for this $1,000 website refresh. Essentially, it was this lead form on my website. Kind of gave some examples. 15 years of small business success. Normally $3,000 for a page build, a 5-page build like that. Mobile optimized, SEO, CRO, optimized, brand focused design and strategy. Ideally, people would want to jump on this. When you're setting up people and you have ads going out that strictly go to your landing page, and as you can see, you can't make it to my general website from here. These ads just go straight to the landing page. I'm noticing a design issue there because I've got this gap, interestingly enough. Very odd. It should be responsive to that, but that's life, I guess, right? We got any participants here in YouTube? Just double checking here. Still nobody there. No problem. Boop. And I was leading people straight to this page, hopefully getting them to convert on page, right? That's your first conversion, right? That's what gives us a lead. And there are 2 different types of leads, right? I'll break this down real quick. There are 2 different types of leads. There's marketing qualified leads. There's sales qualified leads. I'm both the marketer and the salesperson. I got these marketing qualified leads because they were served the ad. I spent however much money I spent. Let's find out last year. Let's go all time because I've only spent on the one campaign. So I spent about $500 on this campaign. Let's see if Google actually tracked my conversions. After spending $500, I got 6 conversions according to them, which is not accurate because I got 1, 2, 3, 4 actual conversions, right? And this is where it's beneficial to understand where you're going from because it's also counting these other 2 conversions, these tests, right? Because total count here is going to be 6. Yep. And why is it counting those conversions? Well, it's counting those conversions because in my Google Analytics, as you can see in a quick second, I am going to close this. This is Mrfancyshoes.com. Sweet. Let's look at data collection and modification, data streams, blah, blah, blah. No, what we're going to look at is reports. Is that what we're going to look at? Because, man, I haven't been on Google Analytics in a little while. Property details, consent settings, data filters, events, data display. So as you can see here, we have form submit. We have ads conversion in a shopping cart. But we do have form submit as one of our options. This hasn't detected any streams in the last however many days. But we should have an option here for events. There should be like a key. I mean, the key event is the form submit. And the configuration of that event is, let me see, change the counting method. Once per event is fine. The way that I set this up is essentially when you go onto the website, you submit a form. Once you submit that form and you go over to my thank you page, you're counted as a conversion. So this is my page load conversion action, and essentially I did get 6 conversions on page because that's what we're tracking. The issue is we're not tracking those conversions based off of like UTM codes, right? And the reason why we're not doing that is just because 1, Squarespace makes it a little bit more complicated, and 2, it's not super relevant when I know where this traffic is coming from. I have the form. I can mentally break down the lead source and know how much is coming from that lead source, right? So we got these 4 leads. Even in these cases, like I contacted these people and they did not respond. So no response goes into our data hub, right? So we have lost all of these leads. We won this one. We won all of these, really. This was not a referral. This was a cold outreach in any way, shape, or form. So this was 1, this was 1, this was 1. Cool. No organic leads, as you guys can see. We should have a second form on the website somewhere, and that's under the contact section. So I can jump in here, log in with my fingertips, and I can show you guys after I get this verification code. Man, why does Squarespace do this to me? I should not be logged out. I should be constantly logged in. It's a good day, y'all. Hope you're having a good day as well. In case you're watching this, whenever you're watching this, I hope you're having a great day. This is Gap in the Clouds by Yellow Days. Highly recommend. Good times. All right, cool. So let's look at my website once again, and I'll show you guys the other form that should be our organic conversions, right? So here's my contact form. Let me just double check the storage. Contact 2021. Let me go main website contact. Otherwise, I'm going to search in my Google Drive. Contact 2021. Should have a sheet. Nope, no sheet there related to that. So I wonder where this is stored. Manage submissions. I'm going to change where I get my email notifications. Add that's good. It's my general email. Additional storage. It's not even connected. How about that? So even if I got organic leads last year, I wouldn't know because I don't have the spreadsheet and I'm not getting the emails. I am getting the emails because that used to go to my personal email. That being said, contact page form. That's what we're going to call this sheet. Because that at least lets us know, like, hey, somebody's contacting us through the contact page on our website, and that's 99% of the time it's going to be an organic lead because I'm not going to send traffic to my homepage. I'm not going to send traffic to my general website. If somebody wants to look me up, find me on Google, or go to my website because they have my business card, they're welcome to do that. We're going to call that organic traffic. If I'm going to pay money to send somebody to my website, it's going to be a page that I've custom designed to try to get them to submit the form to hire me or whatever. Like that's really going to be the case, honestly. If I weren't doing that, it would be irresponsible. I'd be throwing money out to come somebody to to get somebody to come to my storefront, right? Which is fine, but it's kind of like putting out a sign, right? If I'm putting out a yard sign out here in my local community, which is South Bend, Indiana, I would be essentially just throwing it out there and letting anybody see my sign. Anybody who wants to sell me something would call me. Would I get a conversion? In that case, am I counting a conversion that's not a real conversion when I'm like actually just messed up? When I'm getting somebody to call me to sell me something, that's not a real conversion. Is a small business owner gonna drive by that sign, look at that sign, and then give me a call? Hopefully, that would be the ideal, but that's not always gonna be the case. Oh, looks like we did. Oh, you see, even though now more recently, Squarespace actually is now saving your form submissions, which I think is a super awesome thing. And but even then, looking at these things, it's like everybody's trying to sell me something. Everybody's trying to sell me something from 2025 on. If I could get your business in front of blah, 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 blah. These are all cold contacts through, and like, good for them, you know. I've gotten business through a cold contact, but I'm not going to go to your website, submit the form, and leave you something generic. I'm going to make you something personal. That's how I got this latest job that we're going to be working on different marketing power hours. That's how I got this cold outreach. Was I made them something personal, I made them something specific, and I reached out to them in the smartest way possible, right? But anyway, we're looking at this closed one. I'm going to put cost, and then $0, $500 income. We'll do that later because it's not relevant for our plan, although it should be, depending on, like, if you have the data, which I do have some data here. I'm not going to put it all together. And then ROAS is always going to be, it's always going to be higher here, but income is $0 here. So this is also going to be autofill here. Cool. So that's referral. This is going to be, actually, this should be sum F5 all the way down. All of these are going to be $signs. And then we're going to stretch this out over here. Boop. And then this should be different. We're going to copy this. We got to copy this. And then we got to add here ads, because we want it to count when it says ads. Great. So we got 4 leads from ads. Awesome. And then now we want to do multiple count ifs. And this is where setting up your data beforehand is beneficial. I'm going to do this once, and then every time I put in a customer, it'll automatically update the chart. I just need to keep up with this chart, because otherwise, no data, no help, right? So let's go count ifs. It's multiple, right? So count if, we're going to basically copy this. So it's going to be count if starting at B4 all the way down to B. Count if, what's that? Count if that equals referral. And then criteria 2, criteria range is going to be and C4 down the rest of C equals closed 1. Boom. Oh, well, actually, my bad. That's got to go down here because these are all sums. C5 down to C. Boop. Cool, cool. And we're going to count this if lost. Makes my life easy. It's going to be 0, but in this case, the ads is the one that's going to tell us, right? Because we want the source to be ads. And then we got that. And then this is going to be a big fat 0 also. Good times. And now we got to add this in for some D5 all the way down to D. Cool. Well, we'll do conversion rate in a second. Cold outreach. So once again, copy this. Copy this. And it's important that I use the same spelling everywhere. So, because otherwise it's not going to work if I use the wrong type of spelling, right? So like, let me show you here. If I go, source is outreach, there is a formula for contains just outreach, but it should be client outreach. Actually, you wouldn't know because it's going to say 0 either way. So if I remove cold from this particular one, see, then it counts it as 0, when in reality we have 1 cold outreach, 1 lead, which is great. I should do more cold outreach. That's what this tells me. After you spent $500, you got $0 back. After you spent $0 getting, these referrals and all of that stuff. So like, I know my cold outreach, that's $8,000. Boom. And then conversion rate here is going to be equals divide closed one by your total, right? Keep this going. And now I'm going to set this as a percentage. Boom. So now I know how I'm doing. I got a 0% conversion rate on ads. I have a 60% conversion rate overall. And I've got 100% across the board when it comes to referrals and cold outreach. Dang. And then we're going to set up one for organic, just so I feel good. We're going to go put this up top, and we're going to do cold outreach, organic. This is a great song. This is I and I by Bayside. Organic. I love a good live where they got a build up and they are oh wait. Oop. I like a good build up and what that's bringing in. So that's pretty solid. All right, return on ad spend. So let's just look up the formula. Formula return ROAS. That's what that stands for. Return on ad spend. Showing how much revenue you earn for every dollar spent on advertising. Remember, revenue is not profit. Just big reminder. A lot of the marketing teams, we operate off of revenue because we want to generate enough revenue to cover our expenses versus profit, right? Because profit should be determined by like your margins as a whole, as a business, right? And then it should also be determined by lifetime value of your customer, right? So I have some customers that are on a retainer type of structure for their particular services because I give them month-to-month services. Whereas in this case, if I was doing profit, like I'd have to break down the hours and all that stuff. Like, but the lifetime value of that customer is definitely profitable. It's just kind of one of those things. Anyway, so it's basically your total revenue from ads versus your total cost of ads, right? So we're gonna divide equals divide the total revenue of ads from the cost of ads. Yay. And then we're going to set this up as a percentage. And it should be negative is what it really is. Big bummer there. But, hey, that's why, we're going to focus this is what helps us with our plan, right? Now that we have this data, this is going to be great. Man, should have put a year on this, but that's how it goes. Because this was 2026, etc. But you know what? I'm not even going to put a date on here. So customer data, we're going to break this down. And I'm actually just going to copy this chart, like straight up. Let's just copy this. Go back to Canva. Ooh, can't paste that in like that. Cool. So now I have a chart in Canva, easily copied and pasted. And then the cool thing about Canva is that we can actually, we should be able to turn this into like a cool looking thing. But anyway, get rid of this, make that small. I can delete that. I'm gonna put, nah, that's fine. Awesome. So now we can put in a note. Because obviously, I got more referrals. I got more out of cold outreach, which means that we should focus on there. But let's keep in mind our plan, right? Because we're going to focus on more referrals and we want Google, right? So, and last year we did 5 referrals. So we want the focus. It's going to be here. It's going to be referrals. Actually, we're going to even make another chart. It's going to make my life easier. I'm going to delete this. And this is a very specific type of marketing. I forget what the exact name is, but we'll go over that later. So anyway, focus, KPI, focus, action, KPI goal. That's what we want. So if our focus is referrals, what are the actions that I'm going to take? Build a referral plan, program, outreach to previous clients / network. I think the network is a good idea. Well, we're going to leave network out because we are going to do a paid strategy for networking. I have a decent network here in town, but I'm not about to wait on that. So now I can do this. I'm going to change this song because I don't like it personally. Sorry. Anyway, now we're back. Cool. And I also want this to go all the way out. Boop. Delete that because that's from the last page. Let's make all of this over here. Go left justified. So KPI goal is we don't have a growth rate, right? So it's not like I have this data from 2025 and 2026 and 2027, and in 2025 I got 5 referrals, in 2026 I got 10 referrals, and in 2027 I got 8 referrals. In that case, a growth rate would be pulling the average growth per year off of that and then calculating the growth rate and then making an assessment of this is how much I can expect to grow based off of the averages year over year. That's normally what I would do for a company that has a lot of data, long-term data. We'll look at that for a different company whose marketing plan I need to do, but in this case we don't have that. So we just want to set a goal. And I'm going to set a goal, which is 10. Let's get 10 referrals this year. And honestly, this is why it's nice to have a local community. Being a local business is not a bad thing. Like being a small business is not a bad thing. You want to be you want to just leverage your network as a small business. That's the key. It's not that being a big business is bad either. I mean, ideally the goal would be to be a national level marketer, international level marketer, worldwide marketer, whatever. People come to me for all of the best ideas and for my direction and whatever. That's a cool concept, but if I'm a local guy and people like me locally, then that's what I'm going to do. That's who I'm going to be. So we'll focus there. What's the next focus? It's Google. Action. Organic content that increases page rank and traffic to site. And we're going to break that down in a second. I'm going to break down what that looks like. And those are the two things we're going to focus on right now. That's it. But now we need to set a goal for PageRank. So, all right, let's find out how would we do that, right? Let's look at two things. First thing I want to look at is a report on my Google Analytics. Let's just get an idea of pages and screens, right? So we got an overview here. Where are people coming from? Most people are coming over to my shop, or they're going to website help. I'm looking at only 28 days. So let's go last calendar year. Open this up. And then, page paths and screen class. I know that there's a way. Google Analytics. And I forget how to do this because I don't do this all the time every single day. When I was working for businesses like that have a lot of data and that have data-rich metrics, seeing the search query that was used. So how to see site search terms. So Google search link, that's already linked. Cool. Viewing organic queries external. GA4 allows you to link your accounts, blah, blah, blah. Reports, acquisition, organic reach, search queries. So let's go over to reports, acquisition, overview. Should be traffic acquisition, organic, social, direct. Hey, that's pretty nice. Get to see that. So thankfully enough, we get to see organic search as a metric here. First user primary channel, event, user, traffic source, should be time, platform. I know that there's a way. Landing page and query string. Great. So, oh, nope, that is just the landing page. I need to find how to search for the actual search query that they used. For some reason, now my Spotify isn't working, guys. Bummer. All right. Now we got a new song, like this song. This is called Rita Is Gone by who is this? The Marcus King Band? Yep, the Marcus King Band. Great band. Highly recommend it. Great song. Thoroughly enjoy it. Rita Is Gone. Anyway, Google Analytics. So organic search queries. If the report's not visible, you may need to publish the Search Console report, blah, 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 admin, enhanced, engagement, events. All right, well, if we're not going to find it here, then we're going to find it somewhere else, and that's going to be Google Search Console. Google Search Console is where I spend most of my time. It's where I live to try to increase my organic traffic. I live in Search Console because Search Console is going to tell me what people are searching and where my average page rank is. So I'm going to switch over. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to, there we go, Mrfancyshoes. Great. So now what I can do is I can look at my performance results in the Google Search Console. My average page position for the things that I'm ranking is 15. That's cool, but that doesn't really tell me much, right? So let's talk about the last 12 months since it is January. It's going to give me everything from when I reconnected my Google Search Console, apparently, to today. Because, again, not a lot of data. Small company, just got started, got serious a little while ago. And this is where we got to be. You know, we have limited data. That's not a bad thing. It just means that we're doing a little bit more guessing than we are projecting. Doesn't really matter. Not a huge issue here. So I've got this working load limit calculator thing that was from before. Fancy Beanie, Asher Roofing Company, South Bend. That's fun. I rank for them. I built their website. Fancy Holo. So none of these search queries are related. Here we go. Marketing Company, Michiana. Those are two searches that I love that I think are super relevant to my business. So we're going to take a look at that in a second. In this data hub, I'm now going to create a new sheet. It's going to be, what are we going to call this one? This one's going to be called search performance or keyword performance. Sweet. So I'm going to call this baseline. And then we're going to put in these two search queries, right? Okay. So we're going to do this a little different. Toss those in there. It's going to be query. And query just means search. It's just what this technology calls a basic search. You enter a query, right? Once again, let's take a look at this chart over here. What is this telling us? This is telling us the clicks, the impressions, and the position. I don't really care about impressions. I care about position. I care about clicks and position. So that's where we're at. I'm just going to leave that there because it's going to make it easier for when I copy and paste. So 2 people saw me, even in position 92. I'm assuming those are bots. Such is life. Let's keep scrolling down. South Bend Performance Marketing. I guess that counts, but we're not really going to worry about that. And this is one of the issues that I have with my website, right? Is that I'm ranking for a lot of stuff because I have a lot of non-relevant to my search term things on my website. I have art that I like to make. I have poetry that I like to write, all on my website. And like, that's cool and all, but like, honestly, it's not helpful. It's not helpful for starting a business. I'll put it that way. It's not helpful for a business where it's not bringing me in any money. How much money am I selling in my fancy crew neck? Zero. And I have a merch shop. I have it primarily because I like to sport my own company's merch. And if anybody else likes to sport my own company's merch, that would be cool too. But I like making custom merch personally. We're going to make a custom calendar for last year's clients, which I think is exciting. But that's neither here nor there. It's not the main thing that I want to rank for my business. So these are all the search terms that I rank for. And this is where I'm at. You know, I'm 99th on the page for the search term of marketing South Bend. So that's not super awesome, if I'm being honest. Like, the goal is to rank higher for all these things. And we got 0 traffic coming from our key search terms. So let's go in. KPI goal is going to be let's get at least 10. I'm going to do 2 here because I want my goal to be 10 clicks at least from that search term with a average rank of, where do I want to be? I at least want to be above the top 10 for my keywords. I'm going to add a couple more things here. Google, and we'll worry about that later. We're going to keep it super simple for the beginning. And then for paid efforts, right? Let's go in here. We're going to go Google search. Or search ads. That's what we're going to do. Search ads, launch a low cost search ad. And since we already have some leads, we're going to set 2 different goals here though, because let's just get an idea here, which is also super relevant. Again, like, just want to make sure that you guys understand that data is incredibly important. Nice. I'll be here a while. One of my friends was just on the live for a split second, which was nice. Anyway, so we're on here. And then we want to look at cost per lead. Cost per lead is an incredibly important thing for a service business, right? So here's an idea. I spent $500 on ads. I want to divide that by the number of leads that I got. Cost me $125 per lead, and I didn't even close on any of these leads. I spent $500, didn't close, and that's just a general cost per lead. Imagine if I was trying to calculate a cost per lead 1, it would be, if I won one of those 4, if one of them comes back, then I guess we'd have a $500 cost per lead 1. That's pretty expensive, but what's the average? National average marketing firm cost per lead 1. $50 to $150 is a national average, but it varies widely, right? So they say. I highly doubt So SEO, they're general estimates. Like, let's go PPC search ads, $40. I disagree. I disagree just because of the general area that I'm at. And we'll look into that. We're going to break down ads, Google ads data. We're going to do a keyword search report, and then we're going to see what the traffic is for that. And then once we understand the traffic for search ads and how much competition we have for search ads, then we're going to jump in and take a look and see what happens. And then we're going to go networking. So we're going to set a goal of 10 leads. And then at least one lead one. A cost per lead of, let's go $50. So those are 3 goals that now we have for our paid efforts. Boop. Like, there's an objective key results thing, and it's part of like it's part of a particular type of marketing framework strategy sort of thing. Universal goal setting, agile. Man, it's eating my brain. Different marketing frameworks. Race, customer journey, no, bullseye, SWOT, Porter's 5. Man, I'm like struggling because I know when I see it, I'm gonna know exactly what it is because it is it's a simple model that is used to kind of guide your actions. It's used to guide your strategies. Best frameworks, 7, segmentation, STP. It's not race and it's not STP. Man, it's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. I really thought that I would remember, but I'm going to remember later. Anyway, so now that we have a goal is to get more customers, one of the things that we don't have on here, and because we really like haven't added our goal here, let's go add row above. I'm going to put goal here. Very nice. We're going to change this to 1. Lost conversion. That's going to save us some trouble, so that way it's not in there. I'm going to change this to all. I'm going to change this to cold call, so there's a little bit more space. This makes it easier for us to see all of this stuff. I hate when the text is like not aligned, and then you're struggling to watch it all. So total here for goals as far as what we want to be. So we want to do a cumulative effort, but I'm at least going to do another 10 here, right? Closed 1, we did 5 last year, 6 total, right? So let's do a closed 1 of 7. Let's do another 10 actually. Lost, obviously, we're going to do less than 10, obviously. Conversion rate would be, at bare minimum, we want over 60. We want greater than 60. At a cost of, man, I don't have that much money in this account for me to do marketing, right? I have operating expenses and so on. But as far as just like revenue goes, my revenue for last year. I want to say, man, I had my P&L somewhere around here. Total revenue is going to be, I guess we're going to have to open QuickBooks. All apps. We're going to look at accounting. Nope, we want reports. Standard reports. Sweet. Profit and loss. Okay, one of my clients also reached out for something else. We're going to go January. So total income, we're looking at 26 grand. So at $26,000, what percentage of my revenue should go to marketing? Boom. Small business, 7-8%. So let's just assume I make the same amount of money. We're going to call it $25,000. We're going to put it at a conservative figure of 7%. I'm only going to be able to spend $1,750, which is going to be important. If it took me $500 to get 0 leads, then I don't think that I can justify my search ad. I think I'm going to focus on networking. And what I mean by that is like breaking this all down, figuring out what it's going to be, and then, okay, there's this thing here in town. If we're talking about networking, there's this thing in town that I saw that could get leads possibly. One, I should maximize all of the free events that I can possibly go to. So there's that. Any clients I want to get referrals from, that's a whole separate thing. We'll talk about the referral program later. But we're going to set up our actions. We're going to set up our annual actions so that way we can like put this all. But this is called BNI, right? It's essentially like a networking thing. And because I live in South Bend, where a lot of the business owners are older, they like this kind of thing. They like networking. They like getting referrals. This whole thing is based off of getting you more referrals, right? So like the participation fee can be from $900 to $1,400. That's my entire budget. It does feel like a paid cult. Here's the thing. It's weird there, but several of my friends were able to, and this is Reddit, right? Launch their businesses from joining. One is an architectural metalworker, and the other is a high-end electrician in Sonoma. The members I talked to said they get 30 to 50% of their business from the group. Another visitor said it's a weird cult, but joined for a year when she had a different business. You make your money back pretty quickly. I might join after I finish with some product development, my current focus. Like, you know, I think it's important. I think it is important to understand that where you live and the people and the actions, they make a difference, right? A lot of people don't like BNI. A lot of people don't. Like, and I will say, I was in BNI for a year as a marketer for a different business, and it does bring in some referrals. It does help. And so I can't lie. But the average cost being at about $900 to $1,400 for the first year, right? It is expensive. That's going to be my whole budget. Often with a discount if I join for 2 years. So maybe I'll take that deal, right? If my whole budget for this year is going to be $1,750, I might as well put it all into the BNI and do the networking, right? So maybe the search ad has to go. And I think that based off of the data, that's what's going to go. We don't have the money for it. Got to make these hard decisions. So we're going to take that out. And then we're going to take out and networking. And we're leaving that underpaid networks because while there is a free component to it, we're going to spend our money on BNI. It's going to happen. I'm going to join, and I'm going to tell you guys how that experience goes. So, keep joining me on these journeys. Follow me for more, obviously. Subscribe to my channels and all that good stuff. But when you make these hard decisions, you have to make the decisions based off of what makes sense for you financially speaking. And for me, money-wise, it's just not Google ads. It's going to be referrals. I get a better conversion rate out of my referrals anyway. And this whole program is based off of referrals. The whole purpose of joining BNI is to get and give referrals. I'm going to have a hard time giving referrals. Got to be honest. I have a hard time giving referrals. But at the end of the day, like, hey, like, it is what it is. I met people in BNI that actually helped me. I've met a realtor. I met an accountant. My accountant retired, which was really sad. But I met a new accountant who's a pretty good guy, and I like him too. So this is what we're going to do. And that's where we're at, right? So now we can set our calendar in motion, right? What are we doing year over year, right? And right now, since we're only doing an hour and I've gone over an hour, this has been just about an hour. We're just going to set up this year at a glance, and then we're going to do another marketing power hour on a different day so I can work on what's going on with these clients. And I'm going to break down my organic and my referral plan strategy. So we'll kind of go from there. We'll see what happens. So right now, year at a glance. Let's just at least do that. Should be easy. Rectangle. So we're going to put in a rectangle. I'm going to make these rectangles, let's go blue first. I'm going to bring this up here. We're going to go with, because what are my 3 efforts here? We're going to do organic. So referrals, Google, networking. Easy enough. Bring this up to the top. A lot of this is going to be planning, right? So we're going to do blue. Let's do green. Oh, my dog just walked in. And we'll do purple. Why? Because I said so. And that's really the only thing. Great song, Buddy, Willie Nelson. Pretty much over. Just as this marketing power hour comes to a close. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, doing all this stuff. Oh, my dog is staring at me because he wants the space heater on. You guys are going to hear the space heater in the background now. Come on, buddy. There he goes. Very nice. Oh, I got to eat breakfast too. I haven't had breakfast. Always important. Nutrition, guys. Take care of yourself. Take care of your bodies. It's very important. So we got referrals. We've got organic search. And then we have networking. It's January. So right now, I mean, we're already somewhat behind. I got to be real. I'm going to make these white because they're going to be easier to see that way design-wise. Break this down here. It's February 16th. I have another job to do before I continue on this. So, oh man, my live will end in 5 minutes. We have detected inactivity during your live. Complete the verification to keep my live going. Oh, weird. That's crazy. I don't have inactivity. I've been active this whole time. What's not active is you guys. You guys are not joining these lives and watching what we got going on. You know, you're missing out on being able to ask me questions and do certain things like that. I'm going to go live on my other marketing channel, or well, on my small business channel, which is for JL Rocha Collections. We're going to go live on there too. And we're going to do live shopping because that's going to be more fun. But I need to figure out how to do TikTok shop before we do that. So, you know, hang tight. We got this. It's all going good. I'm going to put this in a group, put this in a group, and then put this in a group. And now what I can do is stretch this out. Very nice. And interesting. Going to make this 15, 15, and 15, just so it's clean and easy. How do I make these all the same size? I forget. Position. Width, we're gonna do 50. Ooh. 2 inches. 1.2. 1.5. So each of these can be 1.7 inches before it looks wonky. These are just small design things that I like to do personally. Cool. So now we have this, and now the real question is, what are we going to do and when are we going to do it, right? So for referrals, we want to set up our referral plan, right? We're going to put this somewhere between February and March. Or program and plan. Because a referral plan, a referral program, it has to have an incentive for the customer, and it has to have an incentive for the business. And it needs to be trackable, repeatable, all that good stuff. SMART goals, right? SMART, simple, what is this? Strategic, manageable, achievable, time sensitive, repeatable. Something is trackable. Something like that. We'll look it up later. But anyway, first we want to set up our referral plan. Now we want to set up a content strategy plan. And we want to do... And this one's actually easy because we're probably going to do this before January starts. Then we're going to do YouTube Live. Just to give you guys a hint, this is an organic strategy because I can take this video, I can chunk it up, I can make my own video on how to set up a marketing plan, or I can take this live, use this as a blog post on my website to grow my SEO, and then I can redo this video when I'm making a marketing plan again or making this a template and showing you exactly what you need to do for your small business. So that's part of the strategy. So we're going to do YouTube Live, and then we want a case study. We want a YouTube Live every single month. At bare minimum, we at least want to go live every single month. I'm going to bring this down all the way here. Whoop. Ungroup, ungroup. Bring these so they all match. Cool, cool. Set up our referral program. Should be sometime in February. And then we're doing outreach. And then we're going to put an arrow because that's pretty much all we're doing. It's going to be all outreach and referrals and rinse and repeat. I should look at cold outreach also, but we'll put that under referrals. Line start. We're going to put that there, and then we're going to put an arrow. Whoop. Outreach goes all the way down into December. That's what we're doing. So we're doing a YouTube Live at least once a month. Bare minimum. There's just no way that we can get around that. December might be a bit iffy. I'm going to leave December blank because we have no idea. December might be a little challenging. I got a lot of work to do in December when it comes to the small businesses that I help. So then in March, we're going to start doing case study / how to. I think those are good options. I don't like this song. Sure. Coffee Cups and Cigarettes by Tomo. And we at least want to do one of these once per month, but we're going to be a little bit more lax with ourselves. Let's try to do it twice per month. think that's the move. Twice per month, we're going to do a case study. Or not twice per month, sorry. Once every other month, we're going to try to do a case study and a how-to. Or a how-to. One or the other. Not and. Although and is pretty good. But that's what we'll do. In February, we're going to join a BNI group. Part of me feels like I should just do this for the 1 year so I can track it, but we'll find out. Attend, gain. Because, I mean, that's really like where we're at right now. Cool. So really, that's our year at a glance. What have we done so far? We set up a yearly marketing strategy by keeping it super simple. We said what goals we wanted to accomplish. We looked at where our efforts are going to be made, and both an organic or paid place. When it comes to organic efforts, there's going to be more labor on our side, and I'll do my YouTube lives based off of that. And then when it comes to the paid efforts, it's going to cost us money, which is never fun. Even though I do pay for a website, even though I do technically, I'm going to I pay for software for making organic stuff, right? Like all of this stuff, it doesn't count as a paid effort because it's not something that I can track one-to-one, apples to apples. We marked our targets. We know exactly what we're trying to reach for the end of the year. We've set our goal together, and then we've put together a basic year at a glance to understand exactly what we're going to be doing with these goals in mind. So the next time we do a marketing power hour, I'm going to wrap up this marketing plan, and we're going to focus in on what this referral program is going to look like and how we're going to increase our organic traffic on Google for the specific keywords that we're looking at. That's the next phase of this, right? Is we're going to look at those plans. We're going to set that up. Part of the organic content increasing is redoing the whole website. It's going to be doing a big issue. So, once we get this out, we might push these case studies how to back. I might set up a section for me to do a website redesign. For now, I'm going to leave them there, but we're going to have to spend a month at least redesigning my website to make sure that it fits for the keywords and the goals and the conversions that I'm looking for, right? Submitting the forms, asking me to be your marketer of choice, et cetera, et cetera. We'll get to that. So we'll delete the rest of this stuff, wrap up the rest of the plan, and see how we set up our organic strategy in the next Marketing Power Hour. That'll be next Monday. Thank you all for joining me today. It's been a great time. Next Monday, we'll do a setup Marketing Power Hour looking at establishing and developing an organic search SEO strategy for our company. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and